5:30 Connect to Providence, live in studio with Mayor Brett Smiley. And of course, we want to get right to the big story, which obviously is dominating headlines right now, which is the school funding fight. One of the first questions I'm hearing from a lot of people, because this is a bit multifaceted, is why should the city of Providence be paying for schools that are now in the hands of the state?
It's an excellent question. Right now, the state pays about 71% of the school department budget. The city does contribute, and we should contribute. We're not disputing that. But they have a history of financial mismanagement. Oversight is supposed to come from the state. That's not happening. And they have a deficit. And the schools are run by the state. So they're asking for a blank check from the city. We have no ability to direct that spending. We have no ability to make sure that it's not wasted. That should happen from the state, and they should contribute also. So it is a real frustrating situation.
When you say the state, does not be able to budget their money right, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the education commissioner? What are we talking about?
The education commissioner. So
okay, and have you had conversations with her at all?
I have. We've met regularly for years. The superintendent of Providence reports to the commissioner.
Right.
She does not report to the school board, the Providence City Council, or me. And so the commissioner or her staff is supposed to be providing that oversight, and it's not happening. They had a deficit last year. They budgeted a deficit this year, and now they're running out of money. We're not the oversight authority. They are. And so this is the challenge that we find ourselves in. Myself and the city council, we're not always on the same page. We are entirely on the same page on this. We care about the kids in our city. We care about these kids' needs. We've offered actually money to make sure that sports and bus passes don't get cut. They haven't accepted it because all they want is a blank check.
Now, what do you say to those people who say, hey, Mr. Mayor, it's time to pay up? You know, these are kids that are in your city, and they're going to be losing a lot of advantages and a proper education.
Yeah, so, I mean, we increased funding in the current budget year, the largest increase in 17 years, $5.5 million, but we budget properly. We pass a budget in June, and then we manage to it. When we do this year's budget, I'm sure we're going to propose increased funding for next year. That's how this process is supposed to work. What might happen as a result of this ruling are cuts so severe that they're going to hurt these same kids and families. If we have to close libraries, turn off the splash pads and close pools for the summer, these are the same kids that we're talking about here. And so it feels like it's about winning for some of the adults in this equation. For us, we're trying to continue to remind folks that we're prioritizing the kids and their needs should be first. Some of that happens in the classroom, but some of that happens in our city and in our community the rest of the day, the rest of the year.
What about the superintendent? You had reported that he had called you and wanted the money within 24 hours, and clearly that pissed you off.
Well, it did frustrate me. I don't think that's how you should get things like this done. He knows that we had been in negotiations for a long time. This funding dispute predates me. In fact, It goes all the way back to 2019. And so an ultimatum of $10 million, which is not a number that we have just sitting around in a bank account in the city of Providence, is not constructive. It was really frustrating. I went to have a press conference to say, like, enough is enough. This can't go on like this.
Right. What about the way forward here now? So now one of the things obviously in that news conference that stood out is when you said tax increases, which, as you know, as a politician is basically political suicide, but it also got the attention of a lot of people in Providence.
Yeah.
When you talk about potentially raising taxes, how much are we talking about? Because that's another slap on the back for taxpayers.
So there's a huge range of what the liability might be. The judge has, in the court case, it was between $10 and $85 million. So just for an example, if it's $30 million, owner occupants will see their taxes go up about $300, and non-owner occupants will see their taxes go up about $600. A non-owner occupant, by the way, is an apartment building.
Right,
so that means that renters are going to pay for that.
Right.
Exactly. And so that's the range, or like a frame of reference for how much money we're talking about here. And depending on what the final judgment is that's supposed to come out now next week, it is going to be a combination of taxes and cuts. And so I'll be seeking, I'll need permission from the Rhode Island General Assembly for this tax increase. And I hope that when we give this extra money, if that's what the judge orders us to do, that I also get some oversight and some control over how it's spent. Because just sending a blank check is super frustrating and reckless. If the General Assembly is going to give us permission to raise taxes, which I hope they will, then I hope they also give us the authority to actually manage this budget, because it is being not managed at all.
Is that conditional, or will you have really no say? Is that more of a request? Hey, we'd like to have some, a horse in the game here, or no?
Well, it's a request right now. I've made the request publicly to the commissioner. I've told her not only do I want my schools back, I want the ability to have an oversight over how these monies are being spent. But when we go to the General Assembly for permission for a tax increase, we will also be asking them to legislatively give us that control.
It's fair to say that you and the commissioner's relationship is not great right now.
It's true.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate because, we have students protesting in the city. And all they see are adults squabbling while they're stressed out. And it's totally unfair to them. I understand their frustration. I think it is very irresponsible that their emotions have been dialed up intentionally by the school department.
As long as the parents too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
I mean,
and the teachers.
Right, the parents and the teachers and the students are really the victims of what has become a political back and forth pointing game. They're the ones that pay for it.
Absolutely.
And they're getting and then on top of that, now you're saying, okay, on top of your kid's school not being stabilized or not enough money, we're also going to put some extra tax increase on you. People are going to be saying enough's enough.
I understand that, and I agree. That's why we've said unequivocally, give us some budget oversight, give us control of the schools back so that we actually can manage the system ourselves, and take the offer that we've made, the most emotional things, our sports and bus passes. We've offered that money. That offer is on the table. It's as good today as it was 2 weeks ago when it was made. Take the offer and allow these kids' anxiety to go down a little bit, and they have not.
I want to get quickly to this. Why don't you think that they want accountability? Because they feel like it's our business, not yours, Mayor?
That's right, and they have had now 5 years of a closed shop without any intrusion. The school board, the city council, the mayor, no oversight, no control whatsoever, and they're loath to give it up, it seems.
They're going to give me 10 seconds here, so I hope you'll abide by that. Providence Place Mall.
Yes.
Is there any way to save that building and save the shops there now that it's...
Absolutely. The mall is not failing. This is a mall with almost no vacancies. We've got a problem with both anchors, and so that are underperforming. And so we have to solve those problems. Bankruptcy in this corporate setup is maybe not the worst thing in the world. It'll restructure some of the debt. I think there is still a bright future for the Providence Place Mall.
All right, Mayor. As always, thank you. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, we do a profile of your husband, so it'll be interesting to see that part of your life as well. So
Excited
appreciate
to
your
see
time.
Thank you.